Hi class. Today we're going to be learning about telling time to the half hour. I know that this is a new concept for most of you and it might be a little bit confusing, but I wanted to take the time to help you understand what telling time to the half hour really means. For instance, you might hear a parent say, we have to be there at 3:30 to be on time for the party, or my appointment's at 4:30. So these are different things that can help you with the telling time to the half hour. And when we're telling time to the half hour, it's going to look like this when it's written. For example, 6:30. That looks like it's backwards, doesn't it, to y'all? Wanted to make sure you guys can see. I'm still getting it backwards. Okay, start with the sheet. I'll use my trusty board here. When we're telling time to the half hour, remember, the time is going to always be this is the half hour right here, the 3. If you're looking on an analog clock, that is your half hour. The 6 is always the half hour because there are 30 minutes between 12 and 6. That is how we are going to be able to tell the time to the half hour. Let's take a look at our Go Math book on page 623. That is the page that we're going to be dealing with. We have a clock on that page. The clock on that page, as you can see, has the minute hand pointing up to the 12 and the little hand pointing down to the 4. The hour hand is pointing to the 4. So if we have the minute hand pointing to the 12 and the hour hand pointing to a number, it always is going to be what that number is. In this case, that number is 4 o'clock. So this first clock tells us the time is 4 o'clock. On the second one, the time is a little bit different. Let me zoom in for you. To make it a little bit bigger so it's easier for you to see. Okay, there we go. So if we're looking at this here clock, we can see that the hour hand is pointing between 4 and 5, and the minute hand is pointing to 6. If the time is the hour hand is in between two numbers, we always refer back to this first number. That is the number we always refer back to when we're telling time to the half hour. Even though it's in between 4 and 5, you always refer back to the first number that it's in between. And for the half hour, the minute hand will always point to the 6. So this clock tells us it's between 4 and 5, or half past 4, or 4:30. That is how you could refer to this clock. Between 4 and 5, 4:30, or 4:30 is how you would refer to the time on this clock. This clock tells us that the time is 5. The hour hand is pointing to the 5, and the minute hand is pointing to the 12. That tells us that we are looking at a clock that says 5 o'clock. As an hour passes, the hour hand moves from one number to the next. The next number, from one number to the next number. The minute hand points to 12 when it's for hour. When a half hour has passed, the hour hand points halfway between two numbers. The minute hand points to the 6. This clock says that it's 8:30. If you notice, the hour hand is halfway between 7 and 8, and the minute hand is pointing to 6. That's another way of telling what the time is. Let's look at these two clocks. What time do we think this first clock is? We have the hour hand halfway between 1 and 2, and the minute hand on the 6. So this clock would be 1:30 or 1:30. Now let's look at clock number 2. We see the hour hand is between 4 and 5. The minute hand is pointing down to 6. This tells us the time on this clock is 4:30 or 4:30. Let's look at two more clocks. Look at the clock on number 3. We see the hour hand between 11 and 12 and the minute hand pointing down to the 6. So we can read this clock as 11:30 or 11:30. And our last clock, we see the hour hand is between 3 and 4, and the minute hand is down at the 6. This tells us this clock is reading 3:30 or 3:30. I want you to see if you can do page 625 and 626 on your own. 626 is your DOL, so please take your time on page 626. 625 is more for practice, to make sure that you understand how to tell time to the half hour. Remember, if you have any questions, please reach out to me and I will be able to answer them for you. Bye.